functions is being provided by dialysis. Now the dialyzer is a reusable component. Mostly in almost all the hospitals except the very high-end hospitals, it is being reused. When I say reuse, they sterilize it and fill it up with formalin and pack it with the patient's name stuck on it and used again next time. The machine and the dialyzer is very expensive. The dialyzer may cost about 800 to 1000 rupees. So depending on the individual's health, the condition of the kidney functions, the dialyzer will be used about 7 times or 8 times. The technicians know to assess there are equipments to assess the validity or the worthiness of the dialyzer. It can be used again. That is how they keep, many of the hospitals keep the dialysis costs at 1000 rupees, 1500, etc. And that is how we also provide subsidized dialysis for 375 rupees per dialysis. And the tubes are also a separate entity. They are also sterilized. The tubes are available in India. They are costing about 400 to 500 rupees per set. They can also be reused. And the dialysis program, one dialysis program will need about 4 hours for the total volume of that individual to be cleaned and circulated back into his body. During this time, he needs to be lying down with an attendant. Normally, we request the attendant to be present. In our dialysis centers, we don't have a doctor, we don't have an ICU facility also. It's a freestanding dialysis unit. Therefore, we request an attendant to be present. In any eventuality, we can provide emergency care and we shift them to the nearest hospital or the hospital of their association. While the person is on dialysis, there are a lot of diet controls and regimens for him. He may not be able to consume more than 500 to 750 ml of water. There are a lot of products like with high sodium, high potassium. He has been asked not to consume those kind of diet. And the doctor, the dialysis technicians and the dietitians, everybody will come forward to give him a diet chart. And with the adherence to that, a person can be quite almost stable and normal, can go back to work. A lot of our patients are going back to work and they are breadwinners. They are working in PTC conductors and as drivers in private agencies, working in small companies, and they come and take dialysis. Normally, twice a week dialysis is advised for a person to stay stable and continue with his regular work and activities. There are a lot of people who even drive motorbikes while on this dialysis. Person can be with compliance to drugs and compliance to dialysis. They can live for more than 10 years and 15 years also. They are living with these conditions. Next slide.
How frequently this has to be done?
Yeah, it has to be done twice a week. Normally, twice a week with 2 days gap in between, Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, like that. And sometimes in private hospitals, slightly middle class and upper middle class people, they do take 3 dialysis a week, depending on health conditions also. Even if the person is very poor and if his health is very bad, the doctor might advise him to go for 3 dialysis a week. There is also another type of dialysis called the peritoneal dialysis. There is an access made in the peritoneum, and that program is called a continuous ambulatory peritoneal dialysis, CAPD. You can do it at home. There is an access made in the peritoneum. There is a fluid bags. Baxter company is manufacturing these fluids. And depending on the patient's body mass index, the volume of fluid is advised, whether it is 1 liter or 2 liter. If a person is much huger, they might advise 2 liters fluid. And the fluid is emptied into the person's peritoneum. There is an equipment called a cycler that will help assist the fluid in draining, intake and outflow also. Once the fluid is into the patient's body, the tube can be disconnected and closed. The person will remain with the fluid in his stomach, in his abdomen for about 2 hours or as per the doctor's advice. And after that stipulated time, he opens out the aperture and connects another tube and the fluid is drained out. That fluid does the work of the kidney inside his body. Normally it is done, it is continuous program. In the overnight they do it 3 times or 4 times depending on his health conditions. And this is a much better form of treatment because the dialysis is taking place every day. There is no diet regulation. Whatever I eat and whatever I consume is being cleaned and purified. My blood is purified every day. But it is a very expensive program. It could cost about 50,000 rupees per month. And it can be done at home. Normally the patients are almost like a normal individual in the morning. They will not have the feeling of being sick. And they can go back to work and can be, more psychologically, there is a lot of friendship in this kind of dialysis. But normally the expense is the big question mark there. Not everybody can afford even hemodialysis. Then where do we talk about CAPD? And Dr. George Abraham is the father of CAPD in India. He brought the CAPD program in India. Dr. Rajan Ravichandran is also one of the forerunners in Tamil Nadu to do the CAPD program. And this program is also developing very well, and depending upon their affordability, the program goes on. And the other option is transplant. Even though both kidneys fail bilaterally and lead to kidney disease, chronic kidney disease, the transplant is done with transplanting only one kidney. Now, how do we go about this transplant program? The government has legalized blood relatives, close blood relatives, to be eligible to donate a kidney. When I say close blood relatives, it's only the nuclear family: father, mother, brother, sister, siblings, twins, husband, and spouses. They are only called the blood relatives. The second line of relatives are really not being recognized by the government as blood relatives. And if the blood group is same, they do n number of tests and ensure that the individual will not suffer by donating a kidney. And with his consent, the transplant takes place. And normally the age range is 20 years to 60 years. A person can donate only after he becomes 20 years and less than 60 years. Now the transplant takes place in a hospital where it is simultaneous. Unlike eyes, none of the other organs can be removed and preserved and kept in somebody else. And these vital organs can be utilized or of value or can be harvested only if the person is alive and blood is circulating. And therefore live kidney transplants are only successful to a great extent. And the transplant takes place in a hospital simultaneously in 2 theatres. And as I told you, the kidney is at the back of the body, just below the rib cage. And for the donor, they make a very big incision from behind up to the navel. It will be maybe even deeper, about 2 inches or even more than that, because the kidney, as I told you, is in the center, well placed, well protected by a lot of padding of fat and cholesterol. So to reach into the kidney, you need to cut a little deeper, and the donor may require about 15 to 20 sutures. And once the kidney is removed, and we all have some space in the lower abdomen on either side of our body. So the new kidney is placed at this place, and the original kidney is not removed. For 2 reasons. One is it has its own original functions of about 10 to 20%. Original functions is still remaining. And secondly, when you go for a transplant, there is something called the immune system in us. This immune system will reject the new kidney, saying this is not mine. So to take care of this immunity, they will start administering immunosuppressive drugs. These immunosuppressive drugs are also predominantly imported in our country due to quality reasons. We do not manufacture the tablets or the dialysis machines in India. So these drugs are very expensive. They are administered on 0 day itself. The day of surgery is called the 0 day, and that day morning itself these drugs are administered into the patient. This takes care of the immune system, immunity, and it's being kept very low. Therefore, the kidney is accepted and it functions very well. Over a period of time, the drug dosage is reduced, but it is never withdrawn. Then for the donor, he doesn't require much medications after transplant or after the donation. He may require hospitalization just for about a week or 10 days. But the wound will take a longer time for him to heal, because as I told you, it is a deeper cut and there will be a lot of pain, severe pain, but it will heal by itself, and he does not require any medicines after that except a few days of surgery in the hospital. And he can go back to work in about a month. He will be able to climb stairs or drive his two-wheeler, etc. And for the recipient, he may require a lot of care and security as far as infection is concerned. It is ideal that the person is isolated in the house with a separate toilet if possible provided, because a lot of urinary tract infections are very common for these transplant patients in the earlier stages, and rejection in the early stage is very sensitive. It is very prone for infections in the earlier stages, and also one needs to be very careful. Once you cross these early stages of 3-4 months, the chances of rejection or any other unprecedents happening is very low. So the person will have to be careful as far as the food is also concerned. And they need to, you might have seen many people wearing the mask and going around in hospitals. They are just trying to be away from any infections that could be in the air. And after some time, these people can also get back to normal life very well. And presently in our country, the transplant patient has a life of running about 30-35 years. And I think Dr. Mani is the pioneer in the first transplant and being very successful. I think his patient is about 30 years old. And the patient, because thanks to very good drugs in the market, the transplant programs nowadays are becoming really very successful, and people are going in for a lot of transplants in many hospitals also. They may not, many times they don't require dialysis after this. Now these are some guidelines which we would have read in papers and TV channels and read in books, and or verbally you would have also heard about it, but as an awareness program we will just rush through it very quickly. Yearly checkup of diabetes and blood pressure and kidney functions is very essential, and smoking is to be stopped because it affects blood vessels. Cholesterol has to be checked. We have a myth saying that fat people have cholesterol and thin people do not have cholesterol. That is not at all correct. Many cases we have come across where thin people do have cholesterol higher levels and fat people. That's something which is a mythical concept that has to be assessed every year. And drinking alcohol has to be stopped because both smoking and alcohol contributes very silently to an individual's disease and ailments. A balanced diet is very ideal today. A lot of the diabetes and high blood pressure, the onset of this at a very younger age today can be attributed to the diet conditions and the lifestyle modifications that we live today. We eat very frequently, we eat between meals, we eat the wrong food, we eat a lot of junk food, especially if you sit before a TV or working in a computer, we do not know how much we eat and how frequently we eat also. And self-medication, especially painkillers, can contribute a lot to kidney disease. Next slide. And substitution of drugs also. It is not just painkillers. Self-medication is also to be understood as substitution of drugs. And maintaining body weight and exercising regularly, this is very essential. And many people, the ladies at home may think, I'm doing a lot of work, why should I go for an exercise? But if you can maintain the normal weight, which is pertaining to the height, if it is ideal for that individual, still exercising is very essential because it contributes to good blood circulation, keeping your body fit, and movement of your limbs will be facilitated very well. And people about 30 to 40 years should have at least 4 days weekly exercise regimen of half an hour a day at least. And eating plenty of fruits and vegetables helps. These are things I'm sure everybody knows about this. Taking less salt is very advisable, not only for BP patients, even for individuals who do not have blood pressure. Let us consume less salt in our diet. Avoiding junk food and bottled drinks, this contributes to a lot of obesity in young children. Child obesity is very common today. All of us like to see our children very chubby, but that leads to a lot of complications in them. And these are the attributing factors. And drinking plenty of water will definitely help kidneys to function well. And this is what we always try to tell about kidney disease, the very basic information. We carry this to companies and private sector and schools and corporation schools and their parents and self-help group and general society also. And if you have any questions on this, we have one, Dr. Rama is here to answer any more questions that you might have regarding kidney disease. And thank you very much.